Namaskar friends. You must have read about US President Donald Trump announcing on 30th July 2025 a trade deal with Pakistan, where he also talked about a joint initiative to develop Pakistan's oil reserves. He said, and I quote, "We have just concluded a deal with the country of Pakistan, whereby Pakistan and the United States will work together on developing their massive oil reserves. We are in the process of choosing the oil company that would lead to this partnership. Who knows, maybe they'll be selling oil to India someday." Unquote. I am Tilak Devasher and you are watching The Great Game Reloaded. President Trump's social media post did not provide further details on the deal between the US and Pakistan. The Pakistani embassy in Washington had no immediate comment. This comes hours after announcing a 25% tariff with additional penalties on India. Like many of you, I was also surprised to read this because Pakistan isn't known as a major oil producer, and neither is it known for having proven quote-unquote massive oil reserves. So what oil is President Trump talking about? Does Pakistan really have oil reserves significant enough to attract superpower attention? In fact, does Pakistan have enough oil to even matter, given that it is a huge importer of oil? Let's do a deep dive into Pakistan's oil reserves. Pakistan's total proven oil reserves are estimated between 350 to 540 million barrels as of 2024 estimates. Production in 2024 was between 75,000 to 80,000 barrels per day, insufficient to meet its demands. Pakistan imports over 80% of its oil needs, spending billions in foreign exchange. Total proven gas reserves are estimated between 20 to 30 trillion cubic feet, declining unless replenished through new finds. Production in 2024 was between 3.5 to 4 billion cubic feet per day. Here are the key regions in Pakistan. 1. The Potahar Basin in Punjab, small but producing for decades. The Indus Basin, home to both oil and gas reserves. Kohat and Dera Ismail Khan, light crude extracted here. Balochistan, largely unexplored due to security concerns. Offshore Karachi and Makran coast is the big mystery. Our story begins in March 2019 when the then Prime Minister of Pakistan was Imran Khan. He told a group of journalists, and I quote, "Pakistan is on the verge of hitting a jackpot in the form of discovering a huge reserve of oil and gas in the Arabian Sea," unquote. There was speculation of a huge, quote-unquote, huge discovery. Some said it could rival Kuwait's oil fields. Khan hoped that the discovery would solve the economic problems of the cash-strapped country. He did not, however, share details of the offshore drilling process. Likewise, there was no official word from the US giant ExxonMobil and the international oil exploration Italian company ENI that had been involved in drilling an ultra-deep well for oil in what was known as Kekra 1 area over 200 nautical miles from Karachi. In May 2019, however, it was officially announced that the much-fated offshore drilling in Kekra 1 had been stopped because no reserves were found despite drilling up to more than 5,500 meters. So much for all the hype that was created. Fast forward to 2024. In September 2024, it was reported that Pakistan had found large deposits of natural gas and oil in its territorial waters after a 3-year survey. It was again stated that these reserves held the potential to significantly boost Pakistan's economy. Some projections in Pakistan ranked this discovery as the world's 4th largest in terms of oil and gas reserves. Interestingly, no mention was made of the companies or the countries involved. This continues to be a mystery. Despite the promising discovery, media reports quoting officials noted that the process of drilling wells and extracting oil could span several years. Singed due to the premature celebrations in 2019, the officials advised cautious optimism, noting that there was no guarantee of finding the reserves as anticipated. It was pointed out that the exploration itself demanded an investment of around $5 billion and could take 4 to 5 years for offshore reserves extraction. If exploration is successful, further investments would be necessary for well drilling and infrastructure development to extract and produce fuel. So is this going to be a repeat of the March 2019 discovery? Pakistan's energy import bill is crippling the economy. Pakistan's total energy import bill in 2023 clocked in at $17.5 billion, a figure projected to rise to $31 billion in 7 years, as per Pak media reports. Exploration for oil and gas has slowed in Pakistan due to poor security in Balochistan and the tribal areas, regulatory bottlenecks and lack of foreign investment, underdeveloped offshore infrastructure, lack of high-tech drilling capacity, low investor confidence. In fact, Shell announced it was selling its Pakistan's business stake to Saudi Aramco in June 2023, and an auction for 18 oil and gas blocks got a muted response from international bidders at best. No international companies even bid on 15 of the blocks, according to Pak media. In July 2024, the country's petroleum minister, Musaddiq Malik, told a parliamentary committee that no international companies were interested in offshore oil and gas exploration in Pakistan, and those in the country largely had the exit door in view. It came down to security and risk versus reward, with Malik explaining to the committee that the cost of security is a major deal breaker because, and I quote, in areas where companies search for oil and gas, they have to spend a significant amount to maintain security of their employees and assets, unquote. While the US would be aware of the security issues, the elephant in the room, of course, is China. China has stakes in the Sandak copper gold project, oil refinery plans worth $10 billion, exploration blocks in Balochistan and Sindh, potential infrastructure to transport energy to Xinjiang. For China, Gwadar is not just a port, it could become a strategic energy hub. So when President Trump talks about developing Pakistan's massive oil reserves, could he be referring to preempting Pakistan's resources feeding China's growth? And that brings us full circle. In simpler terms, even if the oil is there, it is not accessible without foreign help. So who would be willing to help given the security constraints? The US, China, or no one, or both? Interestingly, Turkey has also thrown its hat in the ring. Recently, the Turkish foreign minister declared that Turkish companies will conduct oil and natural gas exploration activities off the coast of Pakistan. A final overview of Pakistan's energy sector would show many existing gas fields, example Sui, are in decline. Energy deficit continues with increasing reliance on LNG imports. Limited oil reserves heavily dependent on imports. Significant but declining gas reserves mainly in Sindh and Balochistan. Promising new discoveries, especially offshore, but commercial development will take time. Security concerns and high costs are deterring international oil companies from pursuing exploration in Pakistan, leaving China and/or Turkey as the most likely partner for future development. Pakistan covers 29% of gas, 85% of oil, 50% of liquefied petroleum gas, and 20% of coal requirements through imports. Let me repeat, Pakistan currently meets only 15% of its domestic petroleum needs with crude oil production of around 22 million tons. The other 85% is met through imports. According to data of a recent study, existing deposits in Pakistan will further deplete 60% by the year 2027. It underlined the need to set up exploration in potential areas on a war footing. In the meantime, Iran is said to be smuggling $1 billion in fuel into Pakistan every year as the country's oil and gas crisis emboldens the black market trade. In the coming days and weeks, there will be greater clarity about the quote-unquote massive oil reserves that President Trump referred to. Thank you for watching. Do like, share and comment. See you again soon with another topic and another anecdote. Until then, I am Tilak Devasher. Namaskar and Jai Hind.